To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. In yesterday's video, I was telling you that it was supposed to get down to freezing mark last night, and it did. It got around 32 degrees. I think by 5 o'clock it was at 32 degrees. And so last night, Carolyn and I discussed it. Do we want to try out our new used outdoor wood furnace, homemade outdoor heat exchanger, whatever you want to call it? And so I got some spray foam. I need to clean it up. I mean, I know it's a big old glob of mess right now, but I can sand that down, make it nice and even. But I got some spray foam, and we decided we were going to go ahead and fire up the outdoor wood furnace. And I'm really glad we had an opportunity to test it out to see how it was going to work. 7 days ago, I showed you that I started building this thing. Now, as you know, I record my videos 7 days before you actually receive them. When I posted that video, I got a lot of people saying, you know, they were concerned about this or that or this or that. Well, the funny thing is we'd already fired it up and tested it. And so last night was our first real long test run. It performed flawlessly. A lot of people were concerned that the seams and things were going to smoke up the inside of the house, and it didn't. We've used extreme heat JB Weld. Now, extreme heat JB Weld, I think can get up to 2,600 degrees or something. And of course, the fireplace, I think, you know, gets around 500 to 1,000 degrees. If you Google it, it says 250. So it doesn't get all that hot. Now, we've finished up insulating the ductwork into the house, and that really made a huge improvement. Originally, when I put the ductwork up and I didn't have it completely insulated, I was getting anywhere from 140 to 160 degrees. Well, now that it's all insulated, I was getting a consistent 170 degrees. It was pretty consistent. Kept us warm. And when we first started up, it was pretty hot in there. We had to actually open a window. Now, the thing is I thought I was going to need a blower to really pull the heat in, but at higher temperatures, like electric portable heater that you put underneath your desk, didn't need it. It worked really well by itself. Now, was a little bit concerned that it wasn't going to make it through the night, and it doesn't. About 3 o'clock, it started getting cool in there. I threw some more wood in it when I got up at 5, and it's still going. So it didn't take much wood. So what you saw me cutting up in the video, I didn't actually use. What I used was some stuff that was laying up here next to the truck, and I just brought it down. Man, I mean, it couldn't have been a dozen sticks, maybe 8, and that kept us warm all night. So, you know, 16 sticks a day, you know, a nice large pile like that, that's going to do really well. I think my pace of just doing a little bit at a time is really going to get us through the winter quite easily. I know so many people said that it's going to be impossible to heat our house with 1.5 acres of wooded area. And we're just going to use deadfall as much as possible. Now, of course, our neighbor said that we could use his property too. We could take the deadfall off his property. So there's another 5 acres of deadfall. We got deadfall everywhere. And I haven't even went into the woods yet. So this morning, I worked for, 45 minutes, and I got this little pile right here. And this pile, I really do think on a 32-degree day, is going to get us probably 2 days, or at least close to it. So for an hour a day working, I can get 2 days of heat. I really think we're in good shape. Now, the reason I'm using the reciprocating saw, my chainsaw is at Mom's house, and her house is 2 or 3 hours away, and I just can't seem to break away long enough to actually go over there, get it, visit, come back. You know, we're talking a good portion of a day to go up there. So we're gonna have to go up there during the holiday and visit with her and get the chainsaw. It's unfortunate that I can't just run up there anytime, but at least she's, you know, closer than when I was a nomad. Now, to give you an idea how much deadfall is around here, the previous owner must have just chopped up wood because he thought it was fun. Here you see that he's chopped up probably an entire tree. It's laying out everywhere. And all I had to do is get back here and clean it up. There's another big stack over there on the top of the hill. What you saw here was just a tree laying down, so I cut that up. And again, it took about 45 minutes. Now, once I get a chainsaw, I suspect this is gonna go a lot faster, and 45 minutes is gonna get me double this, maybe triple of what I got here. So again, I don't have to work very hard as long as I do what I always do and just stay disciplined to get up in the morning, do my job, and then come out here and do an hour's worth of work. Like they said, the turtle and the hare, and the turtle wins. You just kind of keep at it, and before you know it, you'll have so much wood, it'll be coming out of your ears. I'm really excited about this winter. No, I'm not excited about winter. I absolutely hate winter. But I'm excited that we have a solid game plan that appears that it's going to be working. Now, the other thing I noticed, I think that the temperature is so consistent in the heat furnace at 160 to 180 degrees, you know, roughly about 170 degrees, that I couldn't get it to cool off. No matter what I did, that stayed pretty consistent. That if I need to, I think I could actually run another piece of ductwork into the camper. So I have 2 pieces of ventilation going into the camper. Basically give me twice as much heat from the same furnace. Now, I also have to consider that I'm going to heat up my IBC water tank with the same principle. Ventilation going to the water tank, but it's not going to need a lot of heat. I'm going to use probably a 4-inch pipe, real small pipe, run it over there, and just use a computer fan to kind of blow air into it. It won't take a lot to keep that above 32 degrees, no matter what the temperature is outside. But again, if you just walk around this property, just in the areas that we're keeping trimmed up and cut, right here, again, more trees. A lot of these trees are already cut in pieces. So I don't know why he cut so much. He didn't really use it. I don't know, maybe he come down here for firewood, cut off the easy parts and just left the rest laying on the ground, which is fine. It's more for me. Carolyn and I are going to do everything we can to keep from having to cut good living trees down. Unless it's a risk to like the power lines, we're still considering cutting that tree down. And then over the house, we're considering maybe trimming those trees up. You know, that tree would last us a decade at the pace that we're needing wood. So I recognize it was only one day, and temperatures are going to get colder than 32 degrees. If we can use the amount of wood that we used last night, we're going to be in really good shape. I had the wood furnace turned all the way down. You know, you can adjust the flue to keep the flames low. I had it all the way down, and it was still roasting us out. So we got a lot of potential for lots of heat with little amount of wood. And so when you start walking back into the woods, you can really start to see the scope of the amount of deadfall that we have. It's everywhere. This property has not been maintained. Now, these are always dangerous. These kind of trees where they've leaned over onto another tree. I've cut those down before, but you gotta be ready to run. Have your shoes tied, so if you trip, you're not gonna twist an ankle. I don't like those kind, but it's gotta come down. I think a lot of lumberjacks call them widow makers. But here's another, look at this. And that tree's dry. That's like the one I just cut up today. Very dry, ready to burn right now. Now we have an old oak framed building over here that I'm considering busting up because that's oak. Oak takes a long time to burn. It's not like pine. When we're taking the trailer apart, a lot of people told me to keep the pine and burn it. But pine burns so fast. But see, I mean, there's a whole forest just laying on the ground ready to burn up. We're gonna get a log splitter. It's called a manual log splitter from Harbor Freight. I've had one before. I love the thing. It's easy to move around. I can throw it in that little wagon. I'll be able to carry it just about anywhere. And it works where it's like a jack. It has 2 handles and you just move them back and forth like this. Standing up, easy to operate, throw a piece of log on it, busted up. Now there's a creek here that I got to be aware of. I'm going to use those steel beams that I got off the trailer. I got 2 8-foot steel beams that I'm going to lay across the creek. That way I don't have to load and unload the little wagon to get across the creek. So I just crossed over into our neighbor's property. You can probably see the fence line right there. And right across the fence line, you just see a gold mine of deadfall. It's just everywhere. Yesterday I said that we might have to go and buy some wood for the first winter, but I'm getting to think now that that may not be necessary. So I'm really excited that this is working a lot better than I ever imagined. I had my concerns about this outdoor wood furnace. It's working fantastically. I hope again I inspire you to think outside the box, come up with solutions to make living off-grid easy and fun. Thanks for watching.